sister's birthday today? Oh, nice.
Did you give them a break today, or do they have to go full speed?
No. We got after it. In fact, Will might have had his best practice ever today. We got a lot of guys kind of banged up. He had to work a couple different spots. Had a really good practice, but he's had a good camp. But today was just kind of like I hope, getting hot, and it's good for him to have a couple days to just rest, recover, and refuel a little bit, and recharge. We're going 17 straight days with no break, so it was a good couple days for everybody, staff too, just to kind of disengage for really about 36 hours, and so got back at it this morning. But dude, we got a bunch of guys that are just kind of just dinged up, still practicing, but I can just tell their bodies are at a point where, all right, we gotta start getting them back. So tomorrow will be mostly all game prep. Today was a combination of Clemson and some game prep stuff. Still had some good on good, and we got several guys back in the practice today that have been out, like DK and Jake and Balin and those guys. So good to see them back out here. But tomorrow will be pretty much all prep. And then Wednesday we start school, so winding it down. We're going to go out and play on the lake this afternoon. So it's always one of our team building exercises that we do every year. And appreciate all the folks up at the reserve that come together to help us have a great day. And a lot of food and a lot of fun, and those guys get a chance to experience something new. We got 39 new guys, freshmen and true freshmen here. To get their first opportunity to kind of go see the beauty of this area around us and have some fun on the lake.
Did Foster practice today?
Foster, yep.
How big was it to get those guys back that have been out for a couple of weeks?
It's good. We've had just miscellaneous. We've had a couple, 2 or 3 different type injuries that have held guys out for short times, and some have been out longer than others. But getting DK, Jake, and Balin back today was big. Those have been hamstring guys, and so they moved around well, practiced all day. And then, Justin was out a couple days. He was back today. Blake. So we got several guys back, but still got a lot of sore bodies right now. And, we're playing in 10 days, so we'll start turning the page really fully to getting our plan ready, and then also getting their bodies, ready to go play and just kind of back with some spring in them.
How difficult was camp this year, considering you had an earlier game compared to other years?
It wasn't too difficult. We're a young team, so we had a couple different things from a practice standpoint, just because we got some youth, a little different than last year. You had a really veteran team that probably could have played the first day of camp. So that was some little tweak here and there in the practice schedule, but as far as our process of getting ready, not much changed, and it's been good. The biggest difference is, I changed practice a little bit today because normally when we're practicing on this day, we're 2 weeks, we're a week from Saturday, but we're in the game week here this week, so we've got. Just tweaked it just a little bit, but it's been good. Guys have, the way we take care of them, our weights and all the stuff that we do. We've got a good holistic plan in place, and like I said, we're, as most teams, a little beat up at this point in camp. But for the most part, I feel like, hopefully by Wednesday, Thursday, these guys will have a little more spring in their leg, and Fridays we'll get in all game prep. Friday's kind of our mock game situation stuff, and then Saturday we're just in shorts, and Sunday's kind of like a Monday to us. That's how we treat it. Start getting ready to play. So not a lot of contact left, and now it's about getting them fueled and ready.
I think you said you were wanting to were thinking about making some red shirt decisions this past weekend. Did you?
Yeah. We got. First of all, everybody's going to play.
Right.
So that's the good news. The way it is today is everybody's going to play. We got 4 games to play with. We got a few guys that for sure that we're like, okay, hey, these guys we're definitely going to be able to hold. And then we got several that I always say are on the bubble that right now are playing. Let's play 4 games and make a decision from there. And then we got some guys we know are going to play. So, we're not going to get into all those names and how we've got it, but we've definitely made some decisions on that.
Coach, we saw a big change with Travis between his freshman and sophomore year. Just physically, he was able to put on some muscle and break a lot of tackles. Have you seen a similar change with Linjay in that regard?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Linjay is just light years ahead of where he was last year. Last year he was just lightning in a bottle. Look out, anything can happen. Sometimes it was good and sometimes it was bad, but it was just not all together with him last year from just a real understanding of the bigger picture. This year he's just a much more complete player. The game has slowed down for him. He understands not just what he's doing, but he has a much better understanding of why. Last year it was literally just, okay, I do this. He didn't really understand why as much, but he's just a much more knowledgeable player, and that has led to consistency and confidence. And then he's stronger. He's had a whole year in that weight room now, and man, you get in that off season with Joey Batson. He just does such a phenomenal job with those guys, and because it's not like an option for him to, it's just our culture here. We're going to put the work in, and he's put the work in, and that, it showed. He's had an excellent camp. He's excited about his opportunity, and I think he's going to have a great year.
As you close out camp now, are you pleased with the progress the young guys have made? And did you see the leadership develop that you wanted to see develop?
I am. There's just only so much you can do. I wish I could say, boom, they're a junior. It just doesn't work. Just like you asked me about Travis Etienne. He was a good player as a freshman, but he's light years from where he was. And so there's only so far you can take guys, and now you got to go play. And they got to go play. They got to get some game confidence, game experience, game adjustments. But I'm really pleased. First of all, I love the group. I think they're serious about it. I think it's important. Football is important to them. We got a lot of enthusiasm with those guys, and that's a huge thing. They don't mind being coached. The biggest thing though is they've got some self-awareness. I think a lot of times when you have a problem is when freshmen are in denial of where they are and what they got to do. But I don't think we got any of those guys that are in denial. They're all very self-aware of, okay, here's where I am, here's where I am, here's where I am, and woo, we all got a long way to go to be. Even the guys that we think right now are going to help us right away. An Ngata, who y'all have heard me say a lot of good things about. He's not anywhere near what he's going to be as a junior. But from a starting standpoint, as a freshman, he's one of those guys that's kind of up here, but he's still got a long way to go. But I think all of them are very self-aware of what they have to do to be better players, and I don't think anybody's in denial of, I should be the starter, and this guy, they're all crazy here. I think there's a lot of self-awareness and trust and respect of the process that we got to go through, and that they have to go through to be ready to help the team win. And so good news is with the rule change, they're all going to have an opportunity to play, and I love that, again, because it keeps everybody engaged. And that's one of the worst things I always thought when you just said, hey, you're not going to play, it's just keeping them engaged was always a challenge. And but when a guy knows he's going to have a chance to play and you don't know when it is, it keeps him much more in tune week in and week out from a prep standpoint. And so I think from that standpoint it's good. And excited to see all those guys get opportunities, and then we'll see how the season goes and play it out from there.
Dabo, what were the biggest questions you had of Jordan and Miles going into camp, and what's your evaluation?
Well, the biggest thing was just where were they going to be physically, and what was their confidence going to be like, and all that type of stuff. Just were they ready to go cut it loose, because they hadn't played football since last, early January. But they've done good. Niles has been excellent. Niles has been really good. He's a fourth-year guy. And he looks that way. He just carries himself that way, and he's played some good football for us. And his knowledge, his understanding of, just block recognition, protection recognition, the little things that just comes with experience and knowledge. He's really done a good job, and he applies that. Jordan has done a nice job. Jordan is he might be the most talented guy but right now he's not the best player yet. And hopefully but he's going to be a sophomore. You know, he didn't get to play as a freshman, and then last year showed some things and got a little bit of experience, but he's still a work in progress. He's still figuring it out. I think he's set up to have an excellent year. I think he's going to get better and better. He just needs to play. He needs some experience. He just needs to. There's a lot of things consistency-wise and just technique, fundamental-wise, that he's still got to grow into. But tool-wise and ability-wise, he's got it all. But he's still a work in progress. And again, he's a guy that's going into his second season to play. So I think he's going to make some big strides, you know, throughout the season. So we've created some depth there, which is good. That was one of our biggest things coming into it was, could we create some functional depth? We're talented, but making that talent functional was a big challenge for us. And I think we've been able to do that. I feel great. I think Tyler Davis is I mean, shoot, he's as good as we got. I mean, he is really advanced and a guy that has really earned our trust in any situation. Darnell Jeffries, Xavier Kelly, those guys have really made some very good strides for us. So I'm very encouraged by the first 4 or 5 guys that we got, and I think the depth is, the reps may not be even, but the depth has become good. And same thing at end. We've got 5 guys that have become functional for us. I think that position, probably more than any position, is going to continue to play out on game day. And we'll kind of see, sometimes that's just what it takes. You get the games, and some guys separate a little bit. Some guys stay the same. Some guys get a little worse, it's always an interesting dynamic to watch. But we've got good competition. We've got good enthusiasm. We've created the functional depth. Now we just got to go play and get everybody healthy, get everybody fresh, get the game plan down, and go play. And then we'll kind of see where we are and what we got to do to move forward.
With Maury's injury and Hunter's loss to the NFL, who are you guys looking at right now at punt return and the other return on?
Yeah, so I think we've settled in on a nice little group there at punt return, guys that we trust. First of all, you got to be a decision maker, and so we got a good little group. Obviously, Amari's still working there every day. He's catching balls every day, so we'll get him back whenever. But DK's a natural. DK, Will, we've worked spec some there. Justin Ross has done a nice job back there. Will Brown. So we got a little group of guys that have earned our trust. That we feel like can go out there and execute, and we'll continue to work those guys. And if we started today, DK would run out there first, and we'll go from there.
How about kickoff? Would it be Powell and some?
Ngata is a guy that's in the mix back there. Powell, Lin J, DK, so same thing, kind of some of those same names. We got a good little group, but probably the one new guy would probably be Ngata.
What's the tightest position battle you had heading into school prep?
Tightest position battle. Probably, definitely on the defensive side. We've got a few battles over there. I think that D line's going to be a battle for weeks. I think we got a lot of competition there, and that's, like I said, we got some of that's just got it. Now you got to go to the games, and it may be that way, strength in numbers all year. And I really, to be quite honest with you, I'd be surprised if it's not. Now you might have. Dan Brooks, for example, I never knew who he was going to start. Y'all remember when Dan Brooks had a little group of about 5 guys, and I never knew who was going to run out there first, literally, until after stretch, because he would take it that far, because he would hold them accountable and everything counted. Y'all remember when we had Grady and DJ and Carlos and Deshaun and Brandon Thompson, Josh White. We had all those guys, and they all were good. But he just did such a good job, and I think, to be honest with you, we're probably going to have a lot of that in our D-line this year across the board. That it's going to be really a week-to-week competition. How you practicing, how you meeting, how you living off the field, how you doing in school, how you doing in pregame meal, how'd you flex, how'd you walk from the locker room to the bus. I think we're going to have a lot of that with that group, and I don't think that's a bad thing. That's not an indication that we don't have, good players. It's just that right now we've got a bunch of unproven guys that have a lot to go prove. And so that's good. I think we got a good hunger. The good news is they're talented, and they want to. So I think it'll be fun, and it'll be fun to kind of watch it all play out as we go through the course of the season. But it is what it is. I mean, we got a talented group at young, and then I think at linebacker, and we're gonna have some battles at linebacker. We're gonna have some, getting Jake and Balin back. Jake and Balin, them two dudes can play, and it's unfortunate that they've missed a lot of time. The positive is we were able to get a lot of work to some of those other guys. Really were able to come along, like Mike Jones. Mike Jones ain't going away. Balin ain't going away. Jake ain't going away. So we're gonna have a lot of competition and creating some good depth there. And then same thing at the corner. I think the depth of our secondary. All those things will continue to be good competition for us.
Has DK's absence allowed Sheridan Jones to push in for a possible starting spot?
I think Mario and Sheridan.
Yeah.
Those two guys have really, and then Booth is coming. Booth is one of those guys that's as advertised. Kind of like AJ. It's just he's got to put it all together, and it's just a matter of time before he does. But Mario and Sheridan have really stepped up, as has Lee Anthony. Lee Anthony has done a nice job. So we've created really good depth there, and then now getting DK back, I think that's going to be a good group for us as we go through the season. A strength, definitely.
You mentioned Coach Brooks. I saw he was at the scrimmage on Thursday. Did he share any insight with what he saw?
No, I just talked to him before practice. I didn't get a chance to see him afterwards, but he wouldn't give it to me anyway unless I just asked him. It's just how he is. But he was excited. I think the only guy left that he coached was Niles. So he was kind of learning and watching some of those young guys, and always good to see Dan when he comes through. He's getting ready to be a granddad, and so he's miss him every day. Certainly part of our family still.
Is Mario more of a boundary guy?
He plays the side. And that's another thing that we've done a good job of. I think Mike's done a great job of teaching those guys both sides. So they really have all been learning both sides. Just trying not to be left-handed or right-handed, and really be able to play, boundary or field. And I think they all can do that.
With so many young guys, how do you feel like the chemistry is building with this team?
It's been good. That's as I said at the very beginning, that was our biggest challenge. I think the rest will take care of itself, but I think the biggest thing for us was really developing the chemistry that you have to be a good team. And that's the process we've been going through. That's what camp's all about. And these guys have been great. We've had some really good meetings and some really good opportunities to share with each other and for this team to grow closer. Today is a part of it. We'll have a lot of fun today, but it'll be 3 weeks this Wednesday that we've been kind of together every day. And our camp is set up to develop that. I mean, because it's all day. You're together, and you eat together, and you sweat together, and you meet together. And I mean, there's just a lot of time to spend with each other. And then, but just not just spending time with each other, making quality time, making sure that they get to know each other. Other than hey, this guy plays left tackle. Who's the person? So I feel really good about the chemistry. I think the leaders have done an amazing job with this group. Everybody that's been around here, they have gone in and led, and they understand what we're trying to do, and they all recognize too. You got 40 plus new people that are roaming around. They understand why we have to do what we do, and so they've led the way. So it's not just been me having to lead that. So I'm pleased. I think the chemistry's in a good place right now.
I know last week you said Frank Ladson was dealing with an injury. How's he doing right now?
He's good. He's just kind of going through his process, and he's back running, and hopefully he'll be back sooner than later. Hopefully he's here for the first game. But if not, I can't imagine he wouldn't be ready for the A&M game.
You've been asked about Davis.
Davis was not back today, as far as and I didn't get to see him because all the freshmen had to go to their all the summer enrollees had to go to the whatever the thing on campus is. Yeah, they had to do all that. So they were there today, but he hopefully know a little bit more about him tomorrow and see where he is.
What are some of the pros about being ranked number one in both polls and coming off the best season in school history and kind of the momentum you have? And are there any cons to that?
Pros to being ranked number one in the preseason. I mean, I guess that means that people think we got a good team coming back, and that probably means that we were a good team last year. So, I mean, I guess that's a pro. I guess that beats not being ranked at all because everybody thinks you stink. So, I mean, I guess that's the pro. The con is it just doesn't matter. I mean, it just is a distraction for people to ask me questions about it because it just doesn't matter. Like I said, unless they bring us a trophy and tear the concrete out over there and put the preseason champs up there, I don't think we're going to do that. So it just doesn't matter. It's probably the only con is it just creates conversation that's unnecessary because it's just not worth the paper it's printed on. And all you got to do if you really want history is just take the last 10 years preseason polls, and a lot of those teams in the top 5 don't even finish ranked. A lot of the teams in the top 10 don't even finish in the top 25. So, so I just have a perspective of it, and I've been on the other side of it where we haven't been ranked in the top 25 and we finished ranked. So I think we've got a heck of a streak going though. I think we have finished higher than our preseason ranking, like, I don't know, a bunch of years in a row. 8 years in a row.
It ended.
So
Yeah, that's ended now.
Now you have to.
well, we could.
Because you can't finish
presume-
zero.
Why not? Why not?
You gotta have an asterisk.
I mean, can't we finish like, negative? Well, it'd be zero. It'd be zero. That's the next one, right? Then it gets to -1.
Super duper one.
Super duper. So I don't know. So maybe we can tie it. Or you have to change the rhetoric.
Yeah, we'll change that one.
Yeah. Ross will figure something out, I'm sure.
Are you concerned about your scoreless streak in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games?
Say that again. My scoreless streak.
Yeah, you haven't scored in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games.
Oh, we haven't? It's probably been more by choice than anything. No, I'm not concerned about that.
So good. Thanks, everybody.
All right, appreciate it, guys.